Good morning, strangers. I'm Andy,
Yes, and I'm Bark still.
and this is, for now, our final episode of Strange Stuff podcast, and also our third anniversary. So happy birthday and goodbye.
Sounds a bit final.
Yeah, I know.
Hopefully,
it's
it's just a sabbatical.
Yes, until my life is more steady.
Yeah, good.
So you were in Mora this morning buying spares for
A new car. Andy.
another new car. Are you bored with the Range Rover already?
No, this is a project car.
Did you buy the Porsche?
Think of a car that's completely opposite to a Porsche, the other end of the spectrum.
You bought a Skoda.
Very close. I bought a Suzuki.
Oh my God, not a Jeep.
Yeah, Suzuki Jeep. It's a wreck.
Is it the Vitara?
Yeah. It's the one that young girls turn into airper tractors.
Yeah, and also it's the one that young girls used to roll over on a regular basis.
That's right. That's the one.
Very unstable.
So there was literally a neighbour of mine had one sitting in his field. It's been in the forest for 4 years, parked. He uses it once a year for the elk hunting. And it was in such bad condition he couldn't even use it for the elk hunting anymore. So he wanted to sell it. So, it was a few £100. And it's a project that's in my garage on a lift. And the first thing I need to do is try to get the brakes working, because there are no brakes on it. The engine is surprisingly good for a 30-year-old car.
I had a girlfriend many years ago, Jess, and I bought her a Ford Capri at an auction, and that had no brakes.
But I can't imagine. Did she perish at the wheel?
No, but I asked her what car she wanted, or what sort of car she wanted, because it was actually my friend who was going to the auction. And she said, I don't care what it is, as long as it's not a Ford Capri and it's not white. So she got a white Ford Capri.
Perfect. How long was she your girlfriend after that?
She actually fell in love with the car.
Aha, I thought she was going to say she fell in love with you, which would have been amazing.
No, she said she hated it at first, but then she realised that everyone else driving a Capri would flash their lights and wave. And she eventually sort of really enjoyed driving it. And she didn't tell me it had no brakes for ages. It was only when someone borrowed it. And then when they brought it back, they said, fuck me, that car's got no fucking brakes. So I got that sorted out.
Well, it's all a new experience for me, because I've never had a car in such bad condition that it actually needs new brake lines. There was no brake fluid in the brake cylinder, master cylinder, so it was literally without brakes. The only thing that worked was the handbrake, and not even that to any extent. So anyway, it's going to be probably a year's project, I would imagine, getting it back on the road, because the bodywork, I thought, it looks quite good inside. And then when I got it home, I was poking around, checking to see if the carpets were wet, because it was been sitting in the forest for 4 years. You'd imagine the carpets were wet.
But they were just
they
covering
were surprisingly
holes.
Dry. Yes, exactly. That's literally what they were doing. They were surprisingly dry, which I was impressed at. And then I saw daylight. So they're big holes in the floors. I mean, Suzukis are known for rusting. But anyway, it's a good thing for me, because I'll be able to practice my welding and things like that. So it's a perfect little project car for me.
Is there anything I can help with?
You mean CNC machining and such like?
Yeah.
You might do, because in fact the gearbox, I'm going to have to strip down the gearbox and transfer box. So there may well be stuff that requires your expertise, Annie, because you can't buy spares for it. You can buy a new gearbox, but you can't buy bits for the gearbox anymore. So yes, you never know. And are you still CNCing, or are you off today?
I'm off
You're
today
off
and
today.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
We've got an obligatory electrical shutdown while they install some new high voltage equipment.
All right.
So there's nothing I can do.
No, but at least you did get the 2 days off. But you worked over the weekend, did you say?
Yeah, it was voluntary. They asked us if we would. They'd appreciate us coming in over the weekend so that we don't fall behind.
Yeah.
I didn't do much. I did like 5.5 hours Saturday, same on Sunday.
Was the rest of the gang there, or was it just you?
Yeah, no, it was really busy. I
Right.
had to go and pick Teresa up to bring her to work and whatnot because she's got no car.
Is that the Serbian princess?
No, that's the Portuguese queen.
Ah, the Queen of Portugal.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
my favourite.
But I thought Hannah was there over the weekend.
She was. Yeah, she turned up. She drove up on Wednesday. They stayed in Pite on Wednesday.
Right.
And then they got here Thursday afternoon, which I took off.
Yes.
And we went and had lunch in town. And then we all stayed in the Wood Hotel Thursday night.
All right. Yeah, the good one.
Went out for a meal at Meet Us, which is like Texas Longhorn.
Okay, yeah.
And my friend Robin from work came out to meet us at Meet Us.
Yes, yeah.
And we had quite a nice night. And then on Friday, which was my day off anyway, the girls went and had the spa at the hotel, and they left their car there. I went and picked them up. Was that Saturday? I've lost track.
God, dear. Age,
No, Friday we all stayed here in the house and enjoyed the weather. It was glorious, sunny weather.
Right.
And then on Saturday they had the spa, and they drove down to the spa. I went and picked them up. They left the car. Came back to me. We had a barbecue. Everybody had a few drinks, and Simon, the manager of the Bishops, was supposed to bring their car here, pick them up, and take them back into town because those two were still staying in the Wood Hotel on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Well, of course, he didn't.
Oh, good.
So it got to about 7:00 and everyone had a few beers and there was no ride. So in the end, I phoned Robin and he luckily was happy to come and get them and drive them into town.
So what happened to is Simon English?
No, he's Swedish.
He's
he was
Swedish,
working. He couldn't get away and he couldn't find anyone else to do it.
All right.
He would have gone eventually, but I mean, I needed to go to bed because I was picking Teresa up at 4:00 in the morning to go to work.
4:00 in the morning.
And then after work, me and Teresa went to the Wood Hotel and met the girls for breakfast.
Oh, suspicious, Andy. Is that all you did at the Wood Hotel? Had breakfast?
Yes.
All right. Good. So you've had a busy weekend.
Yeah, really busy. And today I've got the dentist at 12:30 and tomorrow is lunch with Teresa because she's on semester now. I won't see her for 3 weeks.
All right. Where's she going?
She's actually going camping in Norway.
Not my thing.
No, absolutely not me either.
Not my scene.
Indeed, if she said to me, how would you like to spend the night in my tent in Norway? I would say, nope, let's get into a hotel or I ain't coming.
No, exactly. I'm not into that camping malarkey.
Not for me.
Anyway.
Especially in countries like Norway.
Full of mosquitoes.
And snow.
I mean, yeah, but not at this time of the year, Andy.
Even at this time of year, you can see snow in Norway.
Can you? They've got mountains high enough to have snow on the peaks. I'm sure we do in Sweden as well, actually. We must do. Kebnekaise must have a bit of snow on it in July.
I mean, they're heading really north.
Are they?
Like 12-hour ride.
And maybe they're going to, what's the northernmost part of Norway? I've been there. Well, the Lofoten Islands is quite far north.
Where you see the midnight sun.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't have to go that far. You must be able to see the midnight sun at your place.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know if it looks any different to the day sun.
Well, we had the village party on Saturday.
Did you or anyone else attempt to assassinate the treasurer of the village fund?
No, no one did. I was drinking Pimm's from, God, it must have been about 5:30 until 11. I mean, we combined consumed a couple of bottles of Pimm's. I mean, I'm not claiming I consumed a couple of bottles, but together we consumed a couple of bottles because everybody obviously wants to try Pimm's. And then once you start drinking it, it's difficult to stop. It's very Moorish, Pimm's. So
how many of you were there? Like 5?
No. There was about 25 or 30 people, but there was only maybe 3 or 4 drinking Pimm's, 2 of us continuously and other people just wanting to try it. So, I had a little bowl of cucumber and some lemonade and bags of ice and things. It was proper little bar activity going on there.
Did you make any drunken passes at anyone?
No, I didn't, unfortunately. I say unfortunately. No, I didn't.
Was there anyone worth making a drunken pass at?
Not really. Well, they're all villagers. I know them all. So, not the sort of thing one would do, making drunken passes at people you live 200 metres from. There's no escape after that.
Yeah, but it's quite handy for getting home.
Yeah, you're right. No, but it was a good fun evening. We had a bit of a laugh. And outside of that, it's obviously just the family. We were thinking of going go-karting today, but the weather looks pretty crappy out there. I think it's probably raining by now.
Yeah, it's a bit iffy here today as well. We've had some really, really nice weather. Can't complain.
Oh. So has Hannah gone home?
Yeah, they left after breakfast on Sunday.
All right. And do you say they drive up? Her friend had a car, did she?
Yeah, Hannah. My cat
Hannah
sitter.
and Hannah?
Yeah, the 2 Hannahs. It made it very easy.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you can't get too confused. Hannah the cat sitter. All right. Yeah. So that's a bit of a schlap of a journey, isn't it? 10 hours in the bloody car.
Yeah, she got back to Mora at 9 o'clock in the evening.
All right. Well, ready for all of the tourists in Mora. Mora is impossible. I went there today. I left. What time did I leave? About 20 past 8. All I wanted to do was go to Bielterma and Ikamaksi just to do a very quick shop. Got caught up, delayed. The traffic wasn't too bad, but it slows you down enough just to make it. I just don't go there in the afternoon. After 10 o'clock, I don't go into town anymore. Traffic is so bad with the roadworks and the tourists.
But it's been like that for years.
Well, no, but it's particularly bad now because you've got all these detours you have to follow. Anyway, that's by the by, and absolutely no interest to the listeners other than those that live in Mora.
I'll tell you what might be of interest was Donald Trump.
Trump, yes. Yeah, I mean, it was, isn't it amazing that these things can happen so supposedly easily in America? I mean, if you've got members of the public saying there's a bloke on the roof with a rifle,
yeah.
And the Secret Service don't respond to it, and he actually gets a shot off.
He got more than one off.
Yes, I mean, I think he injured 3. Well, he killed one.
He killed one and injured a couple of others.
2 or 3 others.
And shot Donald in the ear.
And shot Donald in the ear. And, I'm not one of these people who was saying it was staged, but whatever it was, the outcome of him being surrounded by bodyguards with his shoulders and head visible, he punching the air with blood on his ear, with literally the American flag in the background. I mean, he there's no point in having an election. He's
already won it. The guy who tried to take him out of the election has done him the biggest favour in the world.
And I mean, of course, the thing is, you can't believe anything you read, but they were reporting that he was a registered Republican. What, I don't know what that means. A member of the Republican Party.
I
So the
don't
whole
know.
thing is totally bizarre.
I
But
mean, I would say if it was staged, Trump is a braver man than me, because I wouldn't let anyone shoot my ear.
I can't.
You're putting a lot of faith in someone's marksmanship.
Well, not that it would ever come out, but if they're willing to kill people so that he gets into power, that would be just beyond comprehension.
Well, why? It's been done before.
Well, no, I mean, I know you
It's
say
been
that
done
casually.
throughout history. Julius Caesar didn't get into power by voting.
No, but he didn't kill innocent members of the public who were supposedly supporting him.
I'm sure there was collateral damage in his assassinations.
Well, yes, that's right. Collateral damage is. But anyway, whatever. It's all. You can't rely on anything now. You can't rely on the news. You can't rely on photographs because they've all been doctored and AI'd. Although that one of the, I don't know if you saw the New York Times photograph of literally the bullet. Did you see that?
No.
There's Donald Trump's head, and there's a streak across the frame.
Oh, that's fake as fuck.
It was just, I mean, you can imagine when they're sitting there with their cameras right in front of him. I mean, it's not just taking click, click, click.
Yeah,
it's
I
auto
know.
click, 1,000 frames
I know,
a second.
but you cannot photograph a moving bullet with an ordinary fucking telephoto lens.
Well,
you're talking specialist camera equipment there.
There is a streak. You can't see the bullet, but there is a streak going across the picture. Anyway, whatever. Yes, I mean, ridiculous. And you know, these commentators. Do you remember a particularly caustic individual who used to be on LBC, Katie Hopkins? I think her name is.
Yes, our Kate.
Who was fired from LBC because of things she said, and then she was sued and is in fact technically bankrupt, I think, having paid damages to these people. So within about 10 minutes of the shooting, she's commenting, "Those in power will stop at nothing," implying that Biden was actually sponsoring the assassination attempt. I mean, literally within minutes, as if she had some insight into who the hell it was. It could have been someone whose wife he'd shagged. I mean,
she's no different to the other media. I mean, every media outlet has got their own agenda, and they all will pin the blame on someone.
Well, no, you're absolutely you're right, but they did give it at least a few minutes. She was out there, and then she was compounding it later on with further comments saying it's obviously the Democrats trying to destroy democracy. It's just...
Well, I mean, they are sort of doing that anyway by refusing to stand down.
You mean Biden?
Yeah. I mean, he said in the first place that he would be a one-term president, and now he's hanging on. It's just ridiculous. Everyone can see he's absolutely retarded. He's got nothing to fucking offer. He can't even stand up, change his underwear, or fucking piss in a straight line. Why are they letting him hang on? Why do they not just say, introducing Kamala Harris as Vice President Trump?
That's right.
I mean,
introducing Zelensky as
President Putin, my good friend. Oh,
no, you're right.
Sake.
To that extent, you're absolutely right. And they've done it before. We talked about it at the Supreme Court. But the thing is that you're absolutely right. I totally agree with you. He should step down. They should have a younger, fresher challenger to Trump. But Trump doesn't even bother to... It's not subtle. He's saying, I'm going to turn it into a dictatorship. I mean, literally, he's used those words. I am going to turn America into a dictatorship. Anyway, whatever. We don't need to go over it again. We've talked about it so many times. But it's going to be interesting to see, because by the time we get back on air, which is bound to be a few months away, we'll see. Sir Keir Starmer will have been in power a few months. We'll have a new president, maybe. Oh,
Yeah, the world
my
would have
Russ Thomas
changed.
the
And
world would have changed.
we will probably have something to talk about.
I can't believe we've got something to talk about today.
Well, we sort of have. We are revisiting one of our most popular episodes, which had the most downloads, and it was, in fact, episode 100. It was about David Icke.
What number episode was it?
It was number 100. Although there might have been a miscounting on my part. It might actually be episode 99.
How could you not know the difference between 99 and 100?
Well, because I didn't number them until recently, and I was sort of just week by week saying this is episode number, and I think I might have missed one. But because
do you know what episode this is?
Well, technically it's 161, but if the original David Icke was 99, then this is 160.
I would much prefer it to be 160.
But you see, the thing is, I started numbering the episodes about a couple of months ago, and I started with episode 1. And as I got closer and closer to David Icke, I realised that David Icke was number 99, which is pretty bad of me. But
were you counting? Have you counted the Patreon episodes as well?
No,
that's separate, is it?
No, and the reason I found the discrepancy was because when I decided to number the episodes, I started numbering the ones we were recording now, and then I worked backwards, and the two don't meet.
Oh.
There's a gap. So
and who's in charge of production of this?
Well, I've sacked myself.
You have. You've sacked yourself.
Myself with no compensation.
How did Richard react to him taking a sabbatical?
Fully understood. He sees the pressure I'm under.
Yeah.
It is kind of a lot.
Yeah. Have you got a date, by the way, when you're coming down?
No.
In June, I mean. Oh, no, hang on. In June. It's July.
You know, that's next year.
Exactly. No, so you haven't actually planned to come down?
No.
Yet?
No. Not at all.
All right. No, it's just so I can arrange to be away when you're here, so I don't have to have you to stay.
You can go on one of your Vitara safaris.
Yeah. I'll be well pleased if I'm actually driving that thing. Anyway.
Well, about David Icke. When we spoke about him last time, you were a bit disappointed we sort of skated over the lizard hypothesis or the reptoid hypothesis.
Did we? I thought we sort of covered that. He was the one that was proposing the Queen was in fact a reptile.
Yeah, but we didn't go into any detail. So I thought we'd go into that a little bit more.
So you've read one of his books?
No, actually, I'm leaning heavily on a paper written by two guys, Tyson Lewis and Richard Kahn, from the Antioch University in LA.
Why on earth would a university in LA want to write something about David Icke, some ex-football commentator who obviously lost his mind?
You have no idea the sort of power, influence and popularity David Icke has.
Power, influence and popularity?
Yes.
Other than the alliteration, I'm sorry, that just doesn't stack up.
Yeah, but that's because you just dismiss him as a lunatic.
He wears purple tracksuits.
Everyone in Liverpool in the 90s wore tracksuits.
Yes, and look what happened to Liverpool. All right, so these
Scousers.
Two students in LA are writing a paper about David Icke. Or was it specifically about lizard theories?
It's the reptoid hypothesis. It's why the lizard theory actually exists.
Well, I can tell you that. Ancient hieroglyphics. There's lots of reptoid type things going on there, aren't there?
Well, there's many facets to the lizard theories. The alien reptilian invasions, blood-sucking paedophiliac Illuminati. agents,
nothing like a bit of Vatican City activity,
who act as totalitarian world leaders, trans-dimensional alien humans interbreeding to strengthen the strain.
You're just putting strings of words together that don't make any sense.
Well, they do. Yeah, if you take into account the world's sort of vulnerability and openness to new ideas after World War II, when we were rebuilding.
Yes.
And then along came the alien encounters with Roswell, etc. It was an age of sort of hope, and the alien encounters that were reported at the time were always positive. And it was like
positive in what sense?
Well, in the sense of that the aliens that were encountered were always giving messages of hope or saying we're here to help. No, the aliens didn't come. All right, they abducted a few people and probed them a little bit, but generally it was a sense of goodwill that people took away from their encounters with beings.
You mean like War of the Worlds, that sort of positive encounter?
But that didn't happen.
What do you mean none of it happened? It's all bollocks.
No, what do you mean? Of course people have met aliens.
We haven't actually had alien invasions yet. When was War of the Worlds written and who wrote it?
No, you're missing my point.
Clearly.
It was H.G. Wells.
H.G. Wells, thank you.
But you're missing my point. The alien encounters that have happened to real people I'm talking about since World War II have generally been positive.
Right. I don't think Blue Velour Man enjoyed his experience. I think you're on a bit of a cul-de-sac here.
Not really. Anyway.
E.T. was a pleasant experience. I'll give you that.
Again, didn't happen. So David Icke, who you dismiss as a lunatic, is now one of today's probably most famous proponents of what we call the reptoid hypothesis. And that's the idea that alien lizards conspiratorially control the Earth and with it human destiny. Insomuch as the reptoid, a figure of radical difference, also takes on decidedly animal overtones, we're going to look at how Icke stands today as representative evidence of a popular dystopianism that projects onto the animal the sum total of the fear and discontent that has arisen around contemporary issues, such as global imperialism and transnational capitalism.
You would never guess that this was written by two students in LA. Is this postgraduate studies, is it? I mean, my God, it's going to take us an hour to unravel the bloody words they use. But
it's actually true.
No.
Now, a closer investigation of Icke's theory also suggests that utopian readings of his work are possible, in which it's theorized that the end to global domination can be arrived at only via the formation of new human reptoid alliances towards peace.
You see, it's nonsensical.
But it's not. This
is human reptoid alliances.
Yes.
What's that?
You have to. Well, we team up with the lizards.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's just crap.
So far,
Where
I'm
are
on
these
board.
Lizards? Give me a lizard that I can join up with.
Well, you've got Katy Perry.
Well, who's she? The singer?
Yeah, and I'm afraid, and you might not like this one, Bob Hope.
Bob Hope, he's dead, isn't he?
Yeah, but he was definitely a Liz.
Bob Hope was a lizard. I mean,
yeah.
Seriously, do people think that Bob Hope was a lizard? Or is this a joke?
His name's in there. His name's in there.
List.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to publish the list? Give me the list. The Queen.
You got the Clintons, the Queen, both the Clintons. I haven't got the list in front of me, but we can cover some of that later.
You tone down the language a bit.
Okay.
No,
okay.
you can't.
I'm trying to. All right. So, if you're unfamiliar with David Icke, which most people are not, you might wonder if this discussion is actually worthy of non-lunatics. But don't relegate Icke's work to merely fringe status, because he is a representative of a major countercultural trend that has global proportions. For instance, his website received over 600,000 hits in its first year.
Well, that's nothing.
That is
600,000 hits. One of these influencers gets 600,000 hits a day.
Yes, but they're actually, all they're producing is a picture of
Makeup.
me in a bikini or a video of me putting on a lipstick. It's a 10-second thing. David Icke,
Yes.
if you look at David Icke videos, I mean, his speaking tours, when he does an arena, he goes on for 10 hours. 10 hours on stage with thousands of people sitting there listening, rapt.
Fainting.
Yes,
Fainting.
and probably being possessed by lizards. I don't know what they do. I think
He's
it would
not
be,
a lizard. Sorry,
would be
is he
great
a
to go.
proponent of being a lizard, or is he saying they're the enemy? I never quite understand.
I'm not sure, because I think
I haven't
like
read
with
that, Mar.
I think with human beings, there's good lizards and bad lizards.
So these students who were saying we need a closer cooperation with the lizards.
Well, that's not what they said. They said that's what David Icke's theory is.
Oh, right, okay.
They're not.
So he must like them.
Some of them. There are good lizards and bad lizards. You know, I like
Well,
human beings, but I don't like certain fucking people.
Do you think there are attractive lizards and unattractive lizards, or do they all look the same to you?
I mean, if they got me drunk enough, I probably would.
It wouldn't matter. Aren't they cold-blooded animals, lizards?
So am I, for fuck's sake.
You certainly come close to it. I have a feeling most lizards are cold-blooded.
Yes, they are. You can refrigerate them. Keep them fresh
And
for
they
later.
come back. Come on, try and decipher the next sentence in this thesis. Is what level of students were they? Are these postgrad students?
Yes, absolutely.
You can't see that. You can see that.
Yes.
They couldn't
Well-
have done a PhD on David Icke theories. That would be like doing a master's degree in Channel 4.
But, I mean, you can do a master's degree in anything you want now. You can do a master's degree on Twitter.
No, you can't.
You can. And talking
Social
of
media, you might be able to.
No, you can literally go down to any aspect of it.
Really?
Yeah, you can
What
choose
were you
your own
gonna say?
subject.
What's happened with Twitter? You were just about to say Elon Musk
Talking
has
of
done
Twitter, I
something
mean,
stupid.
with David Icke, he's been banned from Twitter. He's been thrown off of Facebook. He's been banned off of YouTube. They've cancelled his videos. A man who is so censored has definitely got something to say.
Why on earth would they bother censoring that? What harm can he do?
But they use the excuse of misinformation about COVID.
Uh-huh. So what did he say that was going on with COVID?
Well, I
It's a
mean,
reptilian thing.
no, I think he was a proponent of the 5G spreader.
Oh, the telephone mast.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So he was promoting the idea that telephone masts are
I don't
promoting.
know the ins and outs of exactly how it worked, because
Well, it didn't. Obviously, it didn't.
regardless, why censor someone if they're just talking nonsense?
I'm surprised that he was censored on that, because it's so stupid that, it's like, would you ban Donald Trump for telling people to drink bleach? I mean, it's
Yeah,
just
but he
as
never
stupid.
got banned.
That's what I'm saying. He never got banned. So why on earth would you ban David Icke? Because he thought telephone masts could actually spread a viral disease. It's just beyond stupid.
A viral disease that killed literally nobody.
Anyway, so he's been censored. So his platform is literally his website and his books.
Yeah, basically his platform is self-generated. You can't. I mean, I don't know if he's still banned on Twitter. Now it's X, because Elon Musk said he was going to unban everybody.
Yes, that's why. Why on earth have they held out with poor old David Icke? Maybe he didn't want to play the 200 quid for his blue star or whatever they got on Twitter these days.
I have no idea.
Here's an interesting point, mildly interesting. You know, if you follow someone on Facebook,
yeah,
it used to be that when someone you followed on Facebook, you saw the post.
Oh, that
it just came up in your feed.
That can happen 6 days later.
Yes. And do you know why? It's because it's the Facebook algorithm that decides what you're going to see. So even if you're following the people you're following post, you may get it days later because the algorithm, prioritize something else to put on your feed.
Usually sponsored.
Yeah. I mean, what's the point? The more and more people I speak to, they don't bother with Facebook anymore. It's just nonsense. It's just full of, as you say, sponsored things.
Sponsored bollocks.
Sponsored bollocks, exactly.
Well, anyway, David Icke's rise to fame is a bit of an anomaly, but his theory is in fact part of a larger alien conspiracy culture that began as a post-World War II Cold War phenomenon and also was helped along with the success of TV series such as The X-Files, when that asserted itself.
That wasn't post-war, was it? That was 2000, 1990.
Yes, but also the Roswell crash. There was a new genre of contactee which sprang up, surrounded by a lot of literature and newspaper reports that held to the idea that aliens filled the sky. While many of the aliens associated with this, oh God, I've got to edit this out. This is killing me. While many associated the alien invasion with the communist threat, such as Mars, the Red Planet, equaling the Soviet Union, the Red Army, those in contact with the aliens themselves reported differently, finding instead that the aliens were in fact here to help humankind survive global crises like World War and nuclear weapons. But by the 1970s, with scandals such as Watergate and the Vietnam War suggesting to an increasingly paranoid public that governments can, in fact, act in defence of their own powerful and secret interests, numerous reports of alien abductions made it clear that the intruding aliens might very well have their own agendas as well. So, like I said, like with human beings, you get the good and the bad.
But the whole language that these two students are using is assuming that alien contact happens and aliens exist.
I think we've irrefutably proved that during the course of these 3 years.
Proved anything. It's like the moon landing that you claim never happened, and the proof was just not with the flag. The flag.
Oh, come on. You didn't even listen to our own episode.
Yeah, I did.
You
and
clearly
that
didn't.
Reflection in the astronaut's helmet was supposedly some light on a gantry, and it was just a flash. It was just that was it. There was nothing else.
Let's not argue on our last ever episode.
Why else do people listen to this nonsense if not for us to be arguing? It just depends how long the rant goes on for. But anyway, so I'm still not getting this. I just don't understand it. So he tapped into a post-World War II alien theory culture.
Yeah, and TV shows such as Star Trek, Outer Limits, Twilight Zone, films like Star Wars and Close Encounters all help to cement the connection between aliens, politics, and entertainment.
I actually was listening to the Swedish radio yesterday. They were interviewing a fellow. They were saying the article or the program was about people who are a bit fanatical. There was someone who'd been to the Bruce Springsteen fellow. He'd seen him play 80 concerts he's been to. And there was another fellow who watches several Star Trek episodes every day. And so they said, well, how many times have you seen all of the Star Trek series? And he said, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 times. And the presenter was saying, well, how many bloody episodes are there?
Well, there's about 1,000.
There's 300 of Series 1 and there's 300 of Voyager and God knows what else. He literally spends every day watching a few Star Trek episodes across. When did Star Trek come out? 1970 or something?
Maybe even, yeah, it was the 70s.
No, it was the 70s. I remember it starting. Talk about being fanatical about something. Your brain must be, or part of your brain must be caught in a loop.
It's a bit obsessive compulsive.
Exactly.
I mean, what do you do when you go on holiday?
Yeah, you suffer withdrawal symptoms.
Or you don't go on holiday.
Or you don't go on holiday, exactly. Well, anyway, what was that about? What were we talking about? Oh, this David Icke fellow and this post-Second World War phenomenon. It was interesting, actually. I was thinking while you were talking about that. If you think of post-Second World War, you need to push pretty hard to identify the enemy. People always like to have an enemy to target, someone to target for the
it's always been the Russians,
problems.
Hasn't it?
No, but what do you mean? The Russians were our allies in the Second World War. But after a war,
you said post-Second World War.
What?
You said post-Second World War. We couldn't identify.
No, but I'm talking about during the Second World War. Russia were our allies.
Yes.
But having defeated supposedly all our enemies, they had to invent someone else to target. I mean, at the moment, it's immigrants and God knows what else.
It's still Russia.
No. In those days, they needed someone new, and it was Orwellian in the fact that Russia suddenly became the enemy. And now again, it's come back. Russia were our friend for 22 or 3 decades, and now they're the enemy again. I mean, justifiably so in my mind, but you know what I mean?
No, not justifiably so. The Western governments are the fucking enemy.
Oh, of course, you're a bit of a Farage sympathiser.
Come on, who's begging to start a war with Putin? The West. Putin isn't asking for a war. The West wants a war with Putin.
No, you're just...
Read your newspapers. Every newspaper is saying, we've got to stop him. He's a maniac. No, he's not. He's minding his own business. It's us who are fucking pushing him. It's us who are sending weapons and arms and troops over there. He's not looking for a fight. We are.
I'm not going to raise to the bait. It's such an obvious ploy to try and get me to have a bit of an argument.
So many countries ever stood up to support one other country in a conflict that is none of our business? Never.
What do you think about? What was the Second World War about?
That's not the point.
I've just answered your question. The Second World War. An alliance of countries were trying to defeat a single enemy, and that was the Nazis.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So we're looking for World War III. That's what's happening, right?
You can't... How many Ukrainian troops are there on Russian soil?
No idea. Don't care.
None.
It's the same country.
None. Russia and Ukraine are the same country.
Yes, same country.
Not the same country.
Pretty much.
No, actually not.
Yeah.
No.
Not now, maybe, with their invented borders, but they certainly were part of the great Russian motherland.
Oh dear! If you carry on like this, Andy, if you actually convince me there's even an iota of
So
not
you're
truth
telling
in
me
what you're
that
saying,
Ukraine was not part of Russia?
it was never. It was part of the Soviet Union. It was never been part of Russia.
Oh, pedant! You're being a bit pedantic now.
No, I'm not. No, the
Russia,
Soviet Union was
Soviet
a
Union. That's like saying England, Mercia.
Well, it's just as stupid as saying is Scotland part of England?
If
Is Wales part of England? Is Ireland part of England? Oh, because they're part of Great Britain, that means they must be part of England. I wonder how many Scots would agree with you. You're obviously talking nonsense, but I'm not going to get worked up about it. You can't possibly imagine Putin is a good person for mankind as a whole.
I would have him as our prime minister over the shitbags we have today anytime. I would.
Keep saying that until you're on the list to be assassinated.
I would. I'd be right in that list, and your name would be well up there, right at the top under the G's.
Well, at least I'm not an A. Andy would be right at the top of the list.
I would rearrange the alphabet in the name of the glorious fatherland.
Oh dear. Anyway, yes, I need a break from listening to you ranting on about your. It's amazing how misguided you can sound sometimes, Andy. Luckily, I know you don't hold opinions on almost anything, so you're like an influencer. Actually, it's like a blank canvas that people can post anything on. Anyway, back to David Icke. Because you're not getting anywhere with your Putin rant.
I'm getting nowhere with David Icke.
No, because all that language you're trying to decipher is too complicated, not only for the listeners to understand or even you to understand. It's just making intellectual conversation about a complete no mark.
Well, this complete no mark has spoken in over 25 countries to many tens of thousands of people. He's written 21 books, got untold DVDs, and as I say, his speaking tours go on for like 9-10 hours, and they're sold out.
He still can't afford to buy a decent suit. He has to walk around in a purple tracksuit.
I'm not sure if he still does.
Is he still alive?
Yes.
What, really? Or is it just an algorithm?
No, he's still alive. In April 2020, Ofcom censored a local TV channel, London Live, after it broadcast an 80-minute interview with David Icke.
80 minutes?
Yeah. He doesn't mess around. Once he starts talking, he doesn't stop.
And you'd like that, would you? You'd like to listen to him for 10 hours?
I would have to have some magic mushrooms. But yes, is the answer.
At the beginning or the end?
At the beginning. Yeah.
Do they last 10 hours?
You wouldn't know, because you wouldn't be sure if what he was saying was in your head or if he was actually saying it.
You could be tripping even though you were stone cold sober with what was coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I think we should investigate whether David Icke is a lizard or not. Maybe if you peel off the tracksuit, he may reveal a bit of scaly activity.
I've got a picture of him in front of me, actually, wearing a purple jumper. Excuse me. Wearing a purple jumper, not a tracksuit. So
why does he wear purple? Does it attract? Is it like an anti-alien thing?
Yeah, it could be like a force field against the lizards.
I'm gonna have to look up a picture of David Icke.
Well, the interview with London Live, it was called London Real COVID-19.
Oh, well, it was COVID related, was it?
It was an edited version of an interview he did with a YouTube channel.
Ah, YouTube channel. That means it was serious journalism.
Well, so actually, you'll probably find more truth in YouTube channels now than you do on mainstream media.
Could actually be true. You know, have we talked about Assange talking about thingamybobs?
Not yet, but let's not go there just yet.
Right.
What Ofcom got mad about, or what the 48 people got mad about and wrote to Ofcom, was his theory that the pandemic is part of a plot by technocrats to destroy the global economy and impose mass surveillance on society, both of which are fairly common conspiracy theory fodder. And I subscribe to both of those.
He's got 2 wives.
Why not?
Pamela Ike and Linda Atherton are both mentioned as his wife.
Good stuff. Good man.
Oh, no, sorry. He was together with Linda Atherton. Of course, that's his ex-wife, and she's reverted to her maiden name. She's with Pamela Ike, 2001 to 2011. Oh, he's single now. Give me an age. What age do you think he is?
He must be 72.
Oh, talk about the depth of your research. I
don't
literally on my bloody phone, and it says he's written over 20 books, self-published since the self-published. Thank you.
Yeah, because no one will
more
touch
than
him.
25 countries. So you just do a quick Wikipedia search. And you
How old is he?
72.
I was right.
But if he's so popular, why does he have to self-publish?
Because he's a hot potato. No one wants to be associated.
What's the opposite of a hot potato? A cold turd, I think, is what it is.
No, it's a wet something, isn't it? Or a damp squib.
Could be. What's a squib?
It's in the olden days when you were a boy, when you had the rifles that you used to have to put the shot in and push it down with a rod. The squib was the little gunpowder holder. Yeah. And if it was damp, it wouldn't fire. So that's why it was called a damp squib.
Now, if that's true,
why would it not be?
That is by far the most useful piece of information that you have given out in the last 53 minutes of talking complete random nonsense.
Are we 53 minutes in? For fuck's sake.
Sorry, is that actually, did you make that up, or is that where the expression damp squib comes from?
No, it's absolutely true.
And if I look it up, that's what I'm going to find.
And now, words from our sponsor.
Oh, I can't believe that you only used that right in the last couple of episodes. What's that?
What's what?
Squib is difficult to spell, though. How do you spell that?
S-Q.
U-I-B.
S-Q-U-I-B.
U-I-B.
Was I still doing my demon voice?
Yes, you were.
Oh, I forgot to turn it off.
Yeah.
Do apologise. I mean, I forgot to transform back into a human.
All right, go for it.
I can't remember what I was going for.
Well, the thing is, you can't keep a track of this thesis you're obviously reading from, because the language is so... What would you call it when people are making an effort to sound intellectual?
It's kind of hard to translate into
normal language,
normal speech. It is kind of hard.
Can you imagine the poor professor who had to read it?
He just looked at the title and thought, "Oh, fuck this! I'll just pass it."
Not another one.
I'll just pass it,
please.
Yeah. Right. Apparently, Ofcom decided that Ike's views had the potential to undermine confidence in the motives of public authorities for introducing restrictions. In other words, he was anti-lockdown, and therefore discouraged viewers from following current official rules around social distancing, which was a complete fucking nonsense as well. So all power to him.
Luckily not rising to that bait either today, Andy.
Well, I mean, if you are going to introduce social distancing and then have a little tete-a-tete in your office where everybody's trying to shag everyone else in the office stationery cupboard, and you've got cabinet ministers snogging socially distanced secretaries on video camera.
Oh, you mean, what's his name? She wasn't a secretary.
Oh, whatever she was, they were not exactly social distancing. They were tongue wrestling.
Are you familiar, and why haven't we done an episode on Project 2025?
Hang on. That's next year.
Something you could save up for when we come back on air. You could talk about Project 2025.
I may have heard of it. You need to give me a little more clue.
It's basically the right-wing conservatives in America, sponsored by the Heritage Foundation, and they are planning on providing Trump with executive powers, what we were talking about earlier, a dictatorship, basically turning America into a dictatorship.
Well, how do they intend to do that when every American has got like 7 guns in their house?
Yeah, but most of the people who have guns are the conservatives who are going to support Donald Trump.
But no one votes for a dictator. I mean, literally and metaphorically. Nobody wants to live in a dictatorship.
What are you talking about?
Well, if you've got
if
300
Putin
million...
isn't a dictator, everybody
Yes.
vote. 98% of people vote for Putin, apparently.
Allegedly. Yeah, but
Exactly.
300 million Americans would not stand for living in a dictatorship.
No,
And
but you don't
they're
need
all
300.
armed.
No, 300 million people don't have to. All he needs is 150 million and one to get him into power. And once he's in power, he takes... Well, but that's what he said. He's publicly said, I'm going to create a dictatorship in the first 24 hours of me winning.
Yeah, but then 24 hours later, there'll be a revolution.
Well, I don't actually think that's such a crazy idea. No, you're right. But the stupid thing is the revolution is going to be the same. It's going to be exactly the play out of the Civil War, when it was the North against the South, with the slavery in the South and the Democrats in the North equivalents. Fight it. I don't think that's too crazy an idea. I think Donald Trump is the sort of individual, and the people who follow him, that could actually incite a civil war in America.
Well, I mean, he did quite well with the invasion of the White House.
Not
Or
the White
the
House, but Capitol
Pentagon,
Hill.
whatever it was.
No, it was Capitol Hill. But
Capitol
no,
Hill.
you're right. Yeah, no, we've actually seen it. An uprising that caused the storming of Capitol Hill has happened under his watch, or because of him, not under his watch. No, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, every American president since the dawn of America has instigated a war of some kind. And Donald Trump is the first in a long time to actually start on his own soil.
You're right. Anyway, that's something for next time. Project 2025.
Oh, well, we'll have to make sure we're back in time for that.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even have to look
In
for
fact,
we wouldn't even have
in
to look
fact-
for a new episode every week. We just do an update on what Don's been up to.
but in fact, hang on, that's an idea. Rather than cutting our listeners off completely, why don't we do just the occasional episode when there's something interesting to talk about? If what actually happens in the news fits into Strange Stuff Podcast mandate, we could do special episodes. Then all your equipment could, be kept well oiled for when we take it up full time again.
That's what I said when I gave up dating.
You
Keep
didn't
me-
give up dating,
I'll keep my equipment well oiled.
just in case. Oh dear.
No, but I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I've been thinking about what we're going to do in the interim, because I feel bad about leaving empty spaces. So I thought what I might do was actually open up the Patreon episodes one by one over the next few months, so that we've still
Yeah.
got
I
something
don't know,
going
how many
out.
did you do in the end with Richard? How many episodes did you do? 30, 20,
Oh,
30?
we've got 20 or 25 episodes on Patreon, which we can release
All
on a
right.
weekly basis.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, fair enough. I think that's at least the listeners getting something.
Yeah, just so we're not forgotten.
Not totally forgotten. Though then, oh no, hang on a second. Then the audience is going to get used to hearing Richard's voice. I might get squeezed out. I might become redundant.
Maybe some of your fangirls will switch their allegiance.
Maybe I should start my own
What would,
podcast.
what would you talk about? How to stuff
Common
a chicken.
sense.
How
I
to
would
stuff a
talk
chicken
common
on a
sense.
Sunday morning.
I'll tell you what, having my son Alex and Anya here with little Leo, I've had a much greater variety of food. Yesterday we had pinchos.
Pinchos.
I would never do pinchos.
What's a pincho? I went to a restaurant called Pinchos last week.
That's sort of like a family TGI Friday
Kind
sort of thing.
But they
Like
sell
a circus.
tiny portions of
bread.
everything.
Yes, but the Spanish pinchos is basically a thin slice of baguette with something on it. So, for instance, we had a tuna mix with a slice of anchovy and some antipasti peppers on top. Very tasty. So you have lots of different spicy salami with a bit of manchego cheese on top. So, a variety of different toppings to little pieces of bread. Jolly tasty. I ate 12.
I went to Lidl the other day with my lovely Teresa. And
Yes, the supermarket.
I bought I bought a packet of crisps called Inferno.
And were they?
Fuck me, they were hot.
Really?
I still haven't managed to finish the whole packet.
Really?
It's like they are so hot. Your lips burn, your eyes water. They're incredibly hot. I recommend highly.
Is it their own brand, that Garant brand?
I don't know. The packet's downstairs,
They
surrounded
don't
by.
sell decent steak anymore in Lidl, do they? Because they used to sell decent steak in Lidl, and then
They only did it for
closed
like
down.
3 weeks when they
And
opened up.
Then they
didn't they?
brought in the Russian Chernobyl.
Yeah, because they
Actually, that's not.
they were selling Argentinian beef, weren't they, for like
Yes,
half the
they were.
price of
Yeah,
Svensk
Well,
kött.
they were selling Argentinian beef, and they were selling Aberdeen Angus as well.
Oh yeah, and it was half the price of Svensk kött,
Yes, exactly.
which is
yeah.
half the quality of Aberdeen
Sorry,
Angus.
how did we get on to talking about Lidl from David Icke?
I don't know, but we've digressed so far. I'm not sure we can ever get.
I think
I
we
mean,
have digressed so far. We can never get back.
I just don't know
Maybe
where to
that's a
go.
good-
We've sort of come to our time limit, and we've achieved nothing in our final episode.
Well, at least that's representative of what we managed to achieve in the 160 previous episodes.
Oh dear God! Well,
Have
and
we
I mean,
actually said anything meaningful? We've done some entertaining stuff, but we haven't actually
I mean, we
done
got nowhere
anything.
with David Icke. We got absolutely
No.
nowhere. So I apologise for that. I would try and save ourselves, but I've got an hour and a bit before my dentist appointment, so
You're right.
I'm going to have to just let it go at that. So I don't know if this was a good episode.
Well, bearing in mind that I wanted to see a picture of David Icke. I Googled him, and the actual information that you have given out to the listeners, I found in a single sentence in Wikipedia. That's it.
I have to tell you, I didn't go to Wikipedia. I told you where my sources were.
Oh, that's right. You didn't actually. No, you're right. Anyway, well done. What were their names? Thomas, Levine, and what?
I don't know where you get your names from, but that was
Yeah, but I'm not good
neither
at
of
names.
them.
Thomas was one of the names.
The names were, in fact, Tyson
Normally on there.
Lewis.
Oh, well, that was pretty. That's TL. Thomas Levine, Tyson Lewis. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Separated at birth, and Richard Kahn.
Well done, Tyson and Richard, for providing
Yeah.
us with that very useful basis.
And next time, write it in English.
I think they might
good
argue
job.
that we're just not.
Good job.
Yeah, exactly. Good job. Yeah, well done. All right. So now
So, yeah.
what are you going to do on Sunday mornings?
Window wanking.
Luckily, I don't know what that is, but
Well, use your imagination. You've got windows, haven't you?
So you don't know when you're coming down to Mora?
No, I
Did you
mean,
have a chat with anybody?
no, not yet.
All right.
And I'm going to make contact at some point today with you know who
Yes.
and see what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. All right. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, is that it then?
Yeah,
It's
I'm
a bit
afraid
of a-
so. It's a bit of an
It's a bit of a
anticlimax.
damp. It's a bit of a damp squib. Actually.
Yes, it is. We didn't even have a drink to celebrate or commiserate.
Well, no, you're right. We could have
Which-
cracked open a bottle of lemonade or something.
Yeah, it would have to be because I have to drive to the dentist.
You've got to remember to brush your teeth. I tell you, I'm just looking at your watch. Your
Oh
new
yeah,
watch.
you haven't. Oh,
I'll tell you what, that is pretty amazing. You got that. What was
It
the name
is-
of that lady in customer services? Give her a little shout out again.
Margaret Lee.
And what was the company?
Well, it's Bugatti smartwatches.
Thank you. Bugatti smartwatches, Magali, buy one. You never get better customer service
That's
than
absolutely true. Yes, and it is. Actually, I'm really happy with it.
that. I'm not
wasn't
surprised.
I wasn't sure about the carbon instead of the ceramic, but very happy.
Sorry, the case is carbon.
Yeah, it's 100% one block of carbon CNC'd out, basically.
So it must weigh pretty much
94
nothing.
grams.
That watch weighs 94 grams.
Yes.
It's quite impressive. Quite impressive.
And waterproof to 100 meters.
Always useful. Oh, actually, it is useful for you. Do you ever go diving these days?
I haven't been diving for many years, unfortunately.
In fact, you were talking about your lungs the other day.
Yeah.
Do you reckon all the diving you did in the early days screwed up your lungs in some way?
Shouldn't have thought so. I didn't do enough diving to affect my body. Dive instructors sometimes have problems physiologically as they get older, but I didn't do
Yeah,
that
but
much
you're
diving.
a pretty weak physical specimen, so maybe the little diving you did just tipped you over the edge.
Really? So in your view, I'm a bit of a gimp.
A feeble physical specimen of the human race. You could be a reptile.
I could.
Maybe you've got little arms.
I got T-Rexes.
Exactly, little T-Rexes. All right, come on,
Must-
we've got to put an end to this. We can't keep talking forever. You do have another 10 minutes before you need to leave, though.
Yeah, but I need to brush my teeth, which takes like 30 seconds.
And
Anyway.
floss.
I would like to say thank you all for listening over the last 3 years, especially
Yeah.
and unbelievably our Patreons.
Yes, a big
you
thank you to
will-
them.
You will still receive episodes for a few weeks because I've got some in the bank. And I will release Patreon episodes. I'll try to do it regularly, weekly, for our regular listeners until they've dried up, just to give you something to listen to until I return. And it's a sad day, really, but unavoidable. I just can't do it at the moment.
Yeah.
But I look forward.
Understandable, Andy.
I look forward to a return,
Yeah.
and hopefully, when I come back, and Mark possibly, will come back stronger than ever, with lots of new
Refreshed.
stuff and a fresh jar of mojo to pop open and splash all over you.
Excellent. Very good. Yeah.
So we'll see you soon, and in the meantime, have yourselves a good week, month. And
Exactly.
if you do come across David Icke, he lives on the Isle of Wight, I believe. So it is
Does he?
possible. I think so.
Yeah.
Just tell him hi from us and ask him if he'd do an 80-minute interview with us, because Mark would love to get him in the hot seat.
Yes, exactly.
So
All
we'll
righty.
see you soon. We will be back.
Yep.
But in the
Yep.
meantime, take it easy.
Bye for now.